Test, test, test. Hello, everybody watching. All two of you. All three of you.
Yeah. Horse. Cock. Live for who? I know, but who's listening? Oh, well, maybe don't go live right now. All right. What's up, Refer? If you hear me right now, it is I, Eric Simon. I am here in your head. We're about to start this. Cassie didn't even get waters for anybody. It's about 110 degrees in this room. There's no seating. There's no mics. This is fucked. Just kidding. No, this is going to be great. See you guys soon. Yeah, sure. Yeah, still right there. Yeah.
That would be easier than just being a fly on the wall at the back of the room, to be honest,
Guys, thank you so much for coming in. My name's Jason. Oh, Stan. Okay, we do have a camera. This is being live streamed into our Refer group. So I know about 90% of you guys are in the Refer group. For those that aren't, this is a mastermind for the Refer Network, which is a referral network that we started. The three of us started earlier this year. We are in month 8. We have now over 130 members in 130 different cities or areas. We've done 16 virtual events called speaker sessions, including one with Jimmy Mackin in the back and Srivatsaa here. Both have been in our speaker sessions. We've now done 2 in-person events, including this one, where we just get together and we meet each other and we talk, usually on the backs of a Tom Ferry event. But
The first one wasn't really a mastermind.
no, it was a big party.
Who was that Bam Bash?
In Dallas.
Oh, I was there.
No,
it was
There's a lot.
raining.
it was raining and they cut capacity at a certain point at the bar. That was in Dallas. That was fun. So ultimately, we just want to say thanks. We have some big things planned for year 2. We've hinted at this a little bit. We ultimately now are just a membership program with referrals that go back and forth year 2 and on. We plan on layering in some cool stuff, some lead gen aspects to get some actual stuff for the members and all that jazz. So thanks for coming along on the ride with us. I just wanted to get together. Actually, I'm not here to talk, so I'm going to turn it over to some other people. But I wanted to tee up Byron and Eric. Obviously, if you guys haven't had a chance to meet them, make some time afterwards. We're going to have drinks downstairs, pick their brain and all that type of jazz. And you guys have anything you want to say before we?
I'm hoping we get to hear from Sharran. That's what I'm hoping.
This easel certainly is not for me. Instagram tips on this. I'll play tic-tac-toe. That's basically all I got.
I hated the idea of Refer when Jason and Eric first started talking about it, I'll be quite honest. And I said it's just better bring a whole heck of a lot of value because the big picture ideas of Refer were very ambitious, right? But we better get value along the way before we get there because we're certainly not anywhere close to being there. Generating referrals within, just obviously you guys, everybody in the ecosystem can generate referrals, but somewhere along the, you want me to hold this, Bobby?
Yeah, hold it.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we're live stream. I'm sorry. For all the live stream people, sorry. If you didn't hear me say I hated Refer at the beginning, now you heard me say it again. Yeah, we're pretty far away from, generating leads from outside in, right? So just getting value and getting connected along the way was super important to me. And I can already see that value today because I haven't seen Sharran in 7 years probably, and just getting reconnected with you.
Exactly the same, which I'm very irritated.
Yeah, just minus 20 LBs because I've been really paying attention to my weight. Actually, never mind. We had a whole other conversation another time about that. But yeah, I'm glad that there has been a lot of value I've heard a lot of feedback from all you guys that have been in it, where there's a closer connection and people are really learning and connecting with each other. So I'm pumped about that. But I want to obviously, before Sharran gets up here and before Eric goes, where are we going with this, Jason? Are we doing?
We did just. I found out we crossed I think our 50th referral within the program, which is kind of cool. We've talked about this in the past. We don't actually know when referrals pass through because of the way we built the member directory. It's just you can go online and see who the member is. So sometimes referrals are made and we don't know about it until after the fact. And so if you guys are listening or watching on this on live stream, please tell us when referrals are made so we know how many referrals are being passed. I think year 2 or 3 we might figure that out and maybe have it go through the platform so at least we know. But so far everything we're hearing is great feedback. If you guys have any ideas or stuff along the way, please.
Any speakers that you guys want us to vote?
Yeah, so we try to make it a point to go real macro, high level, right? We get Srivatsa's, Jimmy Mackin's, Chris Smith's bro is in the house. We've got Spencer Rascott. So we've had some big names, and we go really niche. We've had geographic farming people, and we've had closing gift people. So we like to have a broad spectrum.
Our bi-weekly, bi-monthly Zoom sessions that we do where I talk about Instagram strategy. That's probably the most valuable.
So we got a lot of great feedback from in the last office hours we did with Eric and myself and Dan O'Neill. It devolved into realtor boxing matches that we want to sponsor. So that's must-see TV. Anyway, so Byron, if you guys haven't been watching, also started something called the Hot Sheet, which is a daily Monday through Friday show on the BAM Now YouTube, which is awesome. I wanted Byron to take a second and talk about what he's seeing in the market, right? Like obviously, I think we're all in different markets, so it's a little bit tough. But on a macro whole, Byron, what are you seeing? I saw your post today too about mortgage rates potentially taking a huge drop, like during the Fed chair or something like that. Talk about that. I got to go get someone downstairs.
That'd be pretty boring stuff. That was just the 10-year dropping while.
About mortgage rates.
Yeah, no. That was. Jerome Powell was just going on his talking points, and the 10-year was dropping. And I'm a nerd, so I thought I'd tweet that out.
You should have seen this guy
But
in the hotel room earlier. He was sitting there
Yeah.
watching the Fed
Yeah.
news thing, taking notes like it was a football game. I've never
Yeah.
seen, he wouldn't even look at me. For
Well,
3 hours.
here's the thing. I think that there is been a 3-year period where in this industry we've gotten real comfortable. Nick Bailey said this, being order takers, but also just like going up, showing up and opening a door, right? And not actually. You and I were just talking about this, like getting on their level of whatever knowledge that they have about the real estate market. You're in San Jose. Like that's a very analytical seller and buyer. So they're going to make sure that you have that information. But if you're in a blue collar town, making sure that you separate yourself from the other two that are just opening a door or just giving all the regular realtor jargon, when we're like, realtor jargon just comes out of our mouth naturally all the time. But it'll come out of your mouth less often if you really intimately know the data of what's going on nationally and how to pull it back into your local market, right? And so that's why, when Jason was talking about the hot sheet, that's why we started that, to really give that CNBC style look of real estate each and every single day, what's going on, to break down the headlines, because there's so many headlines that are negative that would be really good for your open rate in your newsletter if you spin it the right way and connect it back to the local market. But there's a couple, I call them contagions, going on in our industry. One of them, I was in TF's room, is actually right over there if you want to go door knock him. He's right across the window here. I was talking about it in there, where agents right now are putting out content that puts them into this never-ending loop of, I'm going to put out content to hope that I get on some stage, go pay my ticket to get on the stage, create more content that puts me on that stage that costs me more money to get on the stage, and they're just in this cycle of this content that's not speaking to the local market whatsoever, right? And it's like the last 2 years, it has become like rampant across the industry. And so there's a lot of people doing a lot of good things, obviously, in the industry, on YouTube and other places. And we can, do some Q&A around it, but I'd really implore you guys to dig into some of that. Like, go really local. It's the only reason I'm able to push as much money as I'm pushing into BAM every other week on our salaries, is because I actually have a cash cow machine in Connecticut that I've been able to build over the years by going deep on local content. And you get to whatever level you want to go to, the next business, the next thing, by having the main thing be super consistent and super predictable. And the main thing for everybody in this room is selling homes in your local community. And so going really deep into that local community is really important. Green screens are working great right now, right? Everybody's seeing that on social. But everybody's doing the wrong green screen. Everybody's doing the green screen that they think is going to get the most views because it talks to a big, large national audience, instead of taking the green screen from the local minutes in their county or in their town. I haven't seen one of those, right? Have you done one? Because you're shaking your head.
No, but I've deep dived into local content, absolutely.
Yeah, so like nobody wants to go to their town hall meeting that's happening, late at night, or their county meeting, but everybody wants that information somewhere. So we know green screens are crushing, right? We know everybody wants that information. Even if you just go and you literally take notes on your note app, and that's your green screen, if your town or city doesn't have like a sophisticated website where they release the meeting notes in a pretty way, you could just type them up and have your bullet points of what actually happened in the meeting. That's the kind of stuff that local agents are just really missing right now on the whole, and there's some people that are doing a really good job. Jeremy Knight comes to mind. Is Jeremy in Refer?
He's not.
No?
But
He's here somewhere. Like taxes are Dallas. You're in Dallas. We were just chatting. Texas has a pretty big issue with property taxes right now, right? And so Jeremy over in Austin, I'm sure you guys are friends or maybe referral partners. Jeremy does live streams where he's talking about the taxes, these hot button items that whether you're a buyer or a seller right now, you're interested in being in that conversation, in those live chats on YouTube. There's a lot of people that when they hear the conversation taxes, they get their political juices up and they're in there. I would find a lot of little pockets in the community where the attention already is. That happens to be politics. I've been talking about this for years. I've had a radio show in Connecticut for 8 years. And don't throw me out of here, it's a Fox News station, okay? So they live stream, or they, what do they call it in radio? Simulcast? Simulcast. Dave Ramsey, Ben Shapiro, Sean Hannity, all these Fox News talking heads. Guess what? Local radio listeners that like that kind of talk, conservative radio talk, never turn the dial. So I don't have to convince them in the local market to come onto my Instagram or my Boomtown website or my whatever. I'm already where they're listening by going local radio. And Saturday, 11 a.m. to noon, they still have it on 94.9 Fox News. They still have it there because they don't change it. People that are listening to radio just listen to radio 7 days a week. And Saturday at 11 a.m., right before all of our open houses, noon to 2 on Saturdays, 1 to 3 on Sundays, is really affordable. I don't pay for it. I've had a sponsor for 7 years, the same sponsor. It's just a sponsor that runs radio ads for his business because he's been doing it for 25 years and he likes getting the free martinis from the sales manager and the radio station. You know what I'm saying? Becoming friends with that person so that they put you on for the radio show, you give them a couple ad reads, and you can do all the things we love to do on social on top of that, because you can record that into a podcast, you can record that into clips for your local market. Doesn't mean you have to be known as the conservative political person in your market, because for 7 years I'd start the show with, hey, you hear about politics all week, we're not going to talk about politics at all. In fact, if you call in, I'm going to hang up on you if you want to talk about politics. We're going to talk about real estate. This is Real Estate Radio, and we're going to talk about what impacts your community, right? And people will call in, and they'll take it to a total political way, and we'll just kick them off the station, right? So there's a lot of different ways to think about your local market. I would encourage you guys to go where the intention already is and not where the fad of this contagion of I'm going to get on stage, because that is going to be a money-losing proposition unless it's the stage of your local market. All right? I'm super pumped. I don't know if Eric's going to... Do you want to say anything, Eric?
Yeah, BAM is a right-wing funnel, if you guys have That's actually why you're all here today.
Yes.
One thing I'd just like to add on the green screens, you could actually do a green screen of your own blog. So like you said with the note sections, doing your own blog is a great way to do it. And that's what we're doing on BAM. And those are by far the most effective videos. And then carousel posts right now, as I've mentioned in the group, are crushing as well. Photos are back, and I'm happy about that. But we're not going to talk about Instagram. Let's kick it to you. Awesome. There we go. Sharran.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to be taking notes because this is a special, unique opportunity.
Stop it. It's just weird holding something. How's everybody? It's kind of like A-, but pretty good. So whenever Jason Cassidy calls, I have to answer, right? Rick, what's up, buddy? So I want to leave you with one phrase that will guide kind of like the next 8 minutes, right? Fame is the most efficient business model. Fame is the most efficient business model. He or she who has it loves it, and he or she who doesn't will poo-poo it. And once you get it, it gets very interesting very quickly. And I'll give you a 10-second backstory. After we built a business, grew our brokerage, you sold it to Douglas Elliman, and I had a 5-year non-compete. So I was like, well, what the heck am I going to do for 5 years? And so what do you do when you have a couple of bucks? You become an investor. Wrote a bunch of checks, lost a bunch of money, right? And then I realized, I was like, all right, I'm going to do two things that I know. I'm going to do real estate, and I'm going to invest in companies. So over the last 5 years, we invested in 27 companies, over $120 million of capital invested, and we bought 5,000 doors, over $300 million of capital raised. And the interesting part is, I did all of that with 2 presentations, 2. And I had no idea how to do it until I hired a coach. So here's the issue here. The issue is all of us are out there building a brand, building fame. Would that be fair to say? Just give me a nod, right? The interesting part is we're all operationalizing charisma. You're all very naturally charismatic. You're operationalizing charisma, but it stops working when the audience does not know who you are. And I realized that very quickly because I was pitching to private equity, I was pitching to real estate folks that were not an audience that I had a brand with. And my presentations were falling flat on their face. And I thought, man, I got charisma. I can just operationalize charisma. I'll make it work. But operationalizing charisma is 50%. Organizing content is the other 50%. So what I want to share with you is I paid this guy, his name is Taki Moore. I paid him do you know Taki, Phil? I paid Taki $63,000 to teach me this one framework. One. And interestingly, after he taught it to me, he said that it was not his. And he learned that from a kindergarten teacher. So I'm going to teach you a kindergarten framework, right? And this will allow you to present anything at any point, at any time, in a completely organized way that you can capture anybody's mind, heart, and soul. All right? Big promise? Big promise? Did you give me a pen, Cassidy?
Refer is a low-budget operation.
So whether it's a 5-minute presentation or a 30-minute presentation, let's think about a great way to organize content. And once I give this to you, you're going to say, wow, I can organize a listing presentation this way. I can organize a buyer consult this way. I can organize, when I jump on with Byron, we're doing an 8-minute interview, I can organize my thoughts that way. I want you to be able to organize anything that you have in your life on the fly so that you can still operationalize charisma, but also organize content in a very thoughtful way. Does that sound good? All right. So this framework, if you can see, it's Cassidy's fault. It's Cassidy's fault. This is called format. My son writes like this. He doesn't even hold a pen like this anymore, which is wild. It's called format, and it has 4 pieces to it. It's got the why, what, how, and now. And I'm actually make a live example. So what would be cool is are any of you presenting anything that I can build your presentation live for you right now? I just need a topic.
Condo collapse, new condo legislation in Florida.
Okay.
Senate Bill 4D.
Okay.
I'm starting a whole campaign about it to say what the costs are going to be for condos. It's already been passed.
Fantastic. So this is great. Not sexy content, would you agree? No. Right? She can operationalize charisma, but she has to organize content around it. So
thousands of condo owners.
100%, right? And how you organize this content has to be super tight, right? So there is a Y frame. So there is a Y frame. There's a what frame. There's a how frame. and there's a now frame. All right? And we're going to go this way. All right? So everyone will argue with the facts, and I'll break down the presentation for you. Everyone will argue with the facts when we go directly to, let me tell you 3 ways or 3 reasons why this condo bill is not working. If you go, then they start, instantly their guard goes up, they're like, I don't disagree, I disagree with that, etc. What you want is you want a really good why frame. When people agree with you on the why, the what and the how and the now become really easy. So here are the 3 questions to ask on the why. You ask 3 questions, which are, why is this important? Why is this important right now? And why me? All right? So why is this important?
Because the expenses on condominiums that are over 2 stories are gonna go up by the end of 2024. So older people who are on fixed incomes need out now.
Okay.
Because 2024, everyone has to have full reserves, and it has to be based on their 10-year reserve study.
Perfect. So this is what she said was perfect. What's your name, ma'am?
Melissa.
Melissa? Awesome. So she did the not why is it important, which is a great answer. She did the why is it important right now. So we need to chunk up one level and say, why is this important? So let's ask a bigger question. If you had to tell somebody why your topic is important, why would it be important?
Well, it's going to affect the condo market.
Exactly. Today I'm going to tell you about why this one thing is going to affect the condo market here in blank. Right? That's the why frame. No one will disagree with you after that, because now whatever you say, oh, okay, I want to know. Right? So why is it important? And then why is it important right now? You got the 2023, 2024 thing, right? Why is it important? Why is it important right now? And I'll actually bring it all together in a second. Why me? So why should anybody care why you're saying it? You're overthinking it. You know the market. Yeah. How long have you been selling in the market?
Since 2012, but I was president on a condo board for many years. I'm friends with the state legislature who made the state representative who passed the bill, who supports it, who is also going back to re-talk to everyone to see if they can adjust it, because they know what kind of damage it's going to do.
Perfect. So here's how you start the presentation. Again, I'm just going with the idea, right? The why is it important? Today I'm going to tell you about one thing that is completely going to affect what happens in this condo market, right? In blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you why it's important right now. It's important right now because the expenses are going to go up in 2023. It's going to affect 2024. They're like, oh, now it's relevant and timely. And you may be thinking, why should you listen to me? And you don't have to say that. You may be listening, why am I the right person to talk about this? For the last 12 years, I've been selling condos in this market. Before I did that, I actually helped pass this bill. And now, 7 out of 10 homes that I actually sell in this market are condos, and I want to make sure my clients get the right deal in the right market in the right time. Until we do the why frame, nothing else matters, right? So good so far on the why frame? Here's the important part. So you get the why frame. I'll pull the whole thing together in 10 seconds for you. The why frame is, why is this important? Why is this important right now? Why me? Okay? Number 2, what frame? The what frame is the strategy, not the tactics. So if we had to pull out, how many things are important in this? 1, 2, 3, many. If you had to say there's 3 things that you need to know, what would it be?
The cost.
Cost.
But the cost is going to go up.
Okay, next.
The housing prices.
Prices, yeah.
And the timeline.
Okay, good. So whenever you do something complex, the what frame should generally have it does well when you have a picture or a diagram or a framework. So this becomes cost, this becomes price, and this becomes timeline. So now that she's done with the why frame, she's like, hey, the 3 things that I want to cover that actually govern this entire topic are to do with cost, blah, blah, blah about cost, prices, because everyone cares about where the equity grows, and the timeline. This is going to happen in the next 18 months. Let me break down each one for you. The reason you do this is now you can shove complexity into a framework. What we generally do is to say 1, 2, 3, and if you don't have a picture or something for people to shove complexity into, it gets very messy. You need a framework to shove complexity into, right? Then, this is the what frame. The how frame is, now let me take you through the important part about each topic, right? So number 1, you would say, here's the cost, whatever. Here's the timeline, whatever. Here's the price, whatever, right? Last part of that, none of this matters until you actually tell them what to do now or next. Based on all of this, this is the one thing I have for you. What should they know or do from an action perspective?
Well, what I'm probably going to do is give an example
Yeah.
of a building
Yeah.
that's common, that, there's a common building in our area, what their 10-year reserve study was, how much it cost, what their anticipated increases could be, and if they are comfortable affording that, or do they feel like they need to move out of the area?
So awesome. So this is really good brainstorming together, right? So what should I, as the person interested in this, do next after I listen to you?
Decide whether you're comfortable with the increases.
Amazing.
Essentially.
Amazing, right? So now you can say, hey, based on all of this, you are now equipped to answer this one question. You get to decide whether you're comfortable with these increases or not, right? So you can do a 90-minute presentation on this, and you can do a 4-minute presentation on this. So now you can essentially say, hey, today we're going to talk about the future of the condo market in the next 18 months. Most importantly, this is important right now because of this price, this change, this whatever. Let me tell you why this is so important to me. I've been selling condos since 2022. Before that, I helped with the legislation. And 7 out of the 10 homes that I sell are actually condos for my clients, so I want to make sure they understand this. Why frame? What frame? All I need you to know is the 3 things that are important: cost, price, and timeline. Let me break down each one of them. Cost, blah, blah, blah. Timeline, blah, blah, blah. Price, blah, blah, blah. Now that I've given you an entire landscape of this, there's only one decision for you to make. And that decision is, are you okay with the price increases or are you not? If you are okay, do blank. If you're not okay, do blank. Now you've operationalized the charisma and organized the content. Right? Now you can take any topic and literally very quickly run through this, and you'll be able to, even live in your mind, be able to organize any topic without you just saying, oh, let me tell you 3 things. Because if there's no why frame, they won't listen. There's no context. Coming back full circle, I took my 2 presentations that I raised $300 million for so far over the last 5 years, 2 presentations, and I put them in this framework. That's it, 2 presentations. In fact, I'm happy to send the presentations to you so you can see it. And it was, as soon as I flipped it to this, everything changed. So, good, helpful? Questions, thoughts? Do you think you can use something like this? She knows her stuff, right? If you notice that she knows her stuff, but we have to tighten the language patterns. Like, we have to channel your inner Phil Jones, right? We have to tighten the language patterns, right? We're all not like an alien like him, right? He's just gifted, right? But the key is, as I was asking you the questions, you were processing. But now when you know, hey, I'm only talking about the why here, I'm going to talk the what next, I'm going to talk about the how next. Because if fame is the most efficient business model, we're going to have to present a lot. And if we have to present a lot, charisma is not enough. They're like, oh, that was cool. Byron's cool, but I've heard that before. No, that was cool. I know what to do next. And now that gets very, very compelling.
The
Yeah?
last thing is the support. So what to do if they do want to sell, where do they
100%,
You
right?
gotta have the list, you gotta know where they can go.
Yeah. So on the next, you say, hey, now it's your choice to do blank. Choice A is to do blah, blah, blah. Choice B is to do blah, blah, blah. Now you create what we call a sorting question or an option frame. Right now, when they have the option frame, they know exactly what to do next. So it makes you can do this in 5 minutes at an interview with Byron, or you can do this in 25 minutes on a straight up Zoom, or you can do this as a keynote in your local legislature, right? But now you don't even have to do it with visuals. You can just do it live because you know the frames in your head. Thoughts, questions? So give me just a fragile ego. So allow me. What comes to mind as in, hey, I could use something like that. That was interesting. I didn't think about it that way. I'm going to try this. What comes to mind?
Sharran, in your experience teaching this, is there one part of it that most people get wrong?
Yes.
Or screw up?
Yes.
And so what is that and why?
Yeah, they don't get the why frame right. If you don't get the why frame right, you don't get alignment. And if you don't get alignment, everything else is useless. Because essentially what people will do is, let me tell you 5 ways to make money right now. That's a how frame, right? There's no contextualizing the how frame. That's the problem. But when you say, let me tell you why this is important, then they're like, oh, they settle into the alignment, and that's way easier. When you're doing complex stuff, do you really need me to hold this? Is this it's just a prop, right? No. Oh, okay. I want to draw one thing very quickly for you, which I think will be important. Jimmy asked a great question. One, if you get the why frame right, it actually is hard to just think about it. And a lot of times, there's multiple ways to do why frames. I gave you the easy one. Why is this important? Why is this important right now? Why me? Right? Maybe if we want to do another session, I can give you the other ways to do why frames. But the what frame is good because I never realized, drawing simple pictures, you can shove more complexity into it. Right? So let me give you a Can I give you a way to diagnose a $1 million business? Brian, you and I have seen this, right? So this is really hard. All right. So I'll go really fast. But what I want you to see is, think about the beginning of this. Okay.
There you go, Bobby.
Eric told him I want BAM branding. That's what happened. That's what happened. All right, I'm going to go very quickly into this. What I want you to see is how the framework starts and how it ends. All right, how the framework starts and how it ends. There's three things really important to diagnose. So as I'm sharing this, diagnose your business as I go with it. There's three things that are important. The three things that are important are traffic. This is how you actually fill the funnel. Systems. Cassidy. Systems. This is how you actually convert leads, and skills. This is how you actually get paid. So this is fill funnel, set appointments, get paid. And then you may say, well, okay, Sharran, that's very interesting. That kind of makes sense. Well, what is traffic? Well, traffic's got three parts to it. This is how you overlay the business. There's organic, there's paid, and there are activities. This is door knocks, door drops, making calls, outbound, all of that. So when I look at someone's business and they say they have a lead generation problem, I'm like, you don't have a lead gen problem. You have 7 organic sources. That's why it's broken. They don't have a portfolio. They don't have a portfolio of leads, right? Any good business will have organic, paid, and activities, and that's what actually delivers the appointment. Next, on the systems are, I need lifetime nurture. Ask Jimmy Mackin, he'll tell you, no email, no business. I'm telling you right now, no email, no business, right? Next is you need some kind of appointment engine. If you just have leads and you fill the funnel but you don't set appointments, stuff's broken, right? Last but not least, you need some kind of referral machine, which refer you already have, right? Which is great. So when all three of these are working, this is a system that generates the appointments. Now you say, what skills do I have? The first skill is you need a smooth sales process. Second most important thing is you need organized onboarding. And the third thing that you need is a delightful deal. Now, if you're recruiting, did you see how quickly I built that out? And now when you see it, if I just showed this to you up front, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? That's what you would say. But as I unpacked this for you, this is how I would go from, in a presentation, I would go from the what frame would be that, and I would unpack each one of the how to do that, right? So if you're actually recruiting somebody to your team, and they think they're a hotshot, you just overlay this on their business. Right? You're like, oh, so tell me about lifetime nurture. When you get a lead, what do you do with it? Oh, I put them through 10 days of pain. Well, Jimmy Mackin will punch you in the face if you tell them 10 days of pain, because nothing happens after day 10. Oh, there's a hole here. All right, this is a red. We need to fix this. By the way, Felicia will say, our team fixes this for you. So now you have an opportunity to fix that. Oh, what do you do for an appointment engine? Oh, if you are busy in 3 appointments, you're not setting any appointments. Oh, we have a nice way to set appointments. Oh, cool. You wake up in the morning and you have a calendar filled with appointments. That's great. Or the third is, how do you take your existing clients and actually generate referrals? You've not planted any referral buoys in your life. You just hope that Byron, your client's going to wake up tomorrow and say, how do I send Sharran a referral today? Hell no, they're not going to do that. But we have to plant some buoys, right? So now you get to start to see which one is broken. And I will tell you, if you have to fix any of these, if you fix lifetime nurture and fix organized onboarding, you will print money in your business. Just those two. These are the weakest links in agents' businesses. The weakest. They can generate leads, they can pay traffic, they can do all of that. They fail on lifetime nurture and they fail on organized onboarding. They say, oh, I got the appointment, I sold them, nothing happened after. They never teach them, here's what happens next. They don't onboard well. All referrals come because of good onboarding. You know why? Because they're stressed when they say yes and they don't know what happens next. But when they know what happens next, they're like, oh my gosh, Felicia took care of me. The reason I wanted to show you this was, when you take a framework and unpack it, you will never forget this ever again. Because what it did, it took all this complexity and shoved it into a framework. If I just gave you 19 things, you'd be like, well, I forgot what Sharran said. Right? That's why the what frame is really important with the framework. Cool? Is that helpful? Yeah. Jason.
For someone who runs a primarily referral-based business,
yeah.
How do you turn, I've always found that that's the one where I can't just turn the dial. I can't make more referrals come in. How would you suggest that someone focuses on that or grows that avenue of the business if that's primarily how they do business?
Great question. So what you want to think about is, anytime when you think about referrals, instantly think about, I live in Laguna, so I use like a beachy example, right? You want to think about planting buoys. If the more buoys you plant, the more referrals will get caught, the more referrals will stick. So you're thinking, Jason, all right, how do I plant more referral buoys? I got refer, that's one buoy, right? Most people don't know what a referral is. Like if I was walking across the street and Byron was my neighbor, and I'm like, man, Byron's grass looks amazing. I'd be like, hey, Byron, who cut your grass? He'd be like, Jimmy cut my grass. I mean, not Mackin, but Jimmy cut my grass, right? And then I would not say, hey, Byron, can you give me a referral? I would not say that. I would say, hey man, can you introduce me to Jimmy? That's what I would say. A referral.
Really expensive.
It's way too expensive, right? A referral for most people is considered transactional, and introduction is considered personal. If you just switch language, it gets really better. So now what I'm doing is, if I can switch language, buoys make sense. The second is, what you don't think about your referrals and your SOI, et cetera, not as your sales force, but as your lead source. Referrals are your lead source, not your sales force. You're expecting them to sell for you. All I want to be able to tell Byron, my client, is that, hey Byron, could you do me a favor? Anytime you hear anyone talking about buying a home in Laguna Beach, can you just do me one favor? I know it's weird to like make introductions to me. I don't want that. I just want best for your client, for your friends. If anyone talks about buying a home, can you just say go to buyingahomeguide2022.com. It's my book. It's got the 10 most important things to buy a home. I only send my referral clients there. If you could just send them there, they'll at least know what they need to do to make an informed and intelligent decision. Now, Byron's like, I don't have to get this weird thing of introducing Jason in this process. I can just tell Sharran to go to this website, right? So he now becomes a lead source, not your sales force, because you can't control that process with him, and it's so much easier. The referral buoy that I would plant is that all our conversation with our clients to be in conversation, what do you look for, and is there not like a low friction way to get them to doing something. The more buoys we can plant, the more referrals you're going to get. Because no one's going to wake up in the morning and say, how do I send Jason a referral today? So we have to plant buoys. Yeah?
That's Eric's favorite buoy right now. Where's Eric? All the ebooks. He just left all the ebooks that we're doing with BAM.
Yeah.
The AI ebook this week, right? Those are all buoys for email capture.
Yeah. So,
So I need a condo ebook.
yeah.
No ebook, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that one is gonna be. Listen, Melissa.
Yeah. Melissa.
Melissa.
Yes.
In 6 months, because I live in Naples. In 6 months, I think everybody's gonna be on that train.
Yeah.
In Florida.
Yeah. This,
Doing it now.
This-
Yeah, I've seen a couple law firms come out and
Yeah.
post explaining it, but who's reading that?
right, which is why, because what they do is they write white papers with no frames.
I'm reading it,
Right, but yeah, the reason why we don't want to read a white paper is like, there's no frames, right? Like when you kids come on and frame that, why can't you close when you're in a conversation with a client in a living room? I was in an $11 million appointment on Monday. It was super easy only because I just kept them in frame the entire time. As soon as they say, well, talk about price, they're out of frame. You just got to get them back in frame. As long as you and your client know exactly where they're going with that conversation, it's much cleaner. They stay in frame, right? So that's why when you get your Y frame right, you're like, oh, they understand why. So they're with you already. Yeah. And so you don't have to get technical yet until you get to the how, right? And so even if they don't get to the how, they're like, this is too complex for me. I just need to call Melissa. That's what you want anyway, yeah. Right? So give me two more. What did you take away? What could you utilize?
I think where Melissa's going is where, like in Florida, is where the puck is going.
100%.
Right? So, kind of similar to what I was talking about, you want to go to where the attention is absolutely going to be. And so what are some other examples for different markets of where the attention is going to be, where you could build this framework into it, almost being that first mover.
100%.
I think Melissa's going to be a first mover on that category.
Yeah. There's I suggested to Jason this. I normally don't make a lot of book recommendations because people are very bio-individual. There's an amazing book if you want to pick it up. It's called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. It is insane. It's like a 24-minute read. And if you don't read that, just read the first 2 chapters. Essentially, it says exactly what Byron just said. It's the well, no, it was perfect because you are either first in the category or you create your own category. Those are the first 2 chapters, right? And as soon as you're first in the category, you have so much notoriety that you're first in the category. And you get to blaze a trail, you get to own the narrative, you get to do all of that. And if you do it both by operationalizing charisma and organizing content, you're a boss. And the reason we see a lot of people just with charisma will have operationalized charisma, but they don't have organized content. And just building those two in gets really, really fun. Gigi.
Local YouTube videos. I think this would absolutely knock it out of the park. I was talking to Eric this week. I was coming in. I've been doing 2 months of consistent every week posting, and I've got my admin writing my scripts for me, right? But if we just flipped it to this, we would probably double
Yeah.
what we're doing. We're seeing about 10, 15 subs a week, which is good for me where I'm at right now. But I can just see that, and then pairing it with what Byron's talking about with that hyper local stuff.
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing a series on national parks in Atlanta. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But there's 17 of them.
I hadn't.
Right? Anyways, I think about this framework.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to implement.
Super good.
It helps a lot because
It organized your thoughts for you, right?
it's complicated. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a complicated topic, and it makes people go, "Oh, I'm not going to look at that."
Yeah. Our job is to take the is to showcase the complexity, but to deliver the simplicity, right? Showcase the complexity, but deliver the simplicity. If you don't showcase the complexity, you're like, well, that's dumb. I knew that. So you have to showcase the complexity in some way, but then you still have to deliver the simplicity. And you had all the data points, and all I was trying to do was I was just trying to help you organize them in your head. Now, once you know them, you can actually fly through the frames very quickly.
Webinars, town halls, all of that.
And once you do it once,
Going for.
once you do it once, you're going to be able to tighten it up and shorten it up. Yeah, Jason.
You mentioned traffic as one of your 3 pillars
Yeah.
at the top, and this might be a Jimmy question and a you question. What is the best kind of paid traffic right now in 2023? If I had $2,000,
Yeah.
$3,000 to spend, not like unlimited money, but where would I be spending that money this year?
That's a Jimmy question.
You know, it's the interesting part of that question is when you think about marketing and advertising, your inputs dictate your output. And so when I study great content marketers, if you look behind the scenes, what do they actually consume? What they consume dictates what they put out. And so when you think about paid advertising, there's 2 ways to look at paid advertising. The first way to look at paid advertising is you're marketing to a cold audience designed to get that person to raise their hand, fill out a form, and hopefully convert them into a customer. But where the opportunity is, because this room is full of content creators, what I don't see any content creators doing is putting big budgets behind the content they're already creating. When you do that, when you put money behind your best performing hits, not only are you leveraging this asset you've already built, but now you have sort of a proven track record with this piece of content before you spend a single dollar. So as an example, if you guys follow me on Instagram,
Yeah.
what you see is I'm not like these guys. They put out an insane amount of content, right? And it's admirable, but it's also a hamster wheel. You've got to be watching, Jerome Powell talk about interest rates for an hour, taking notes to be able to update on the radio show, right? For all the right-wing radicals. You got to do that. If you don't, you're not going to be informed. And so what we do, or what we've learned to do, to sort of slow the game down, because we're operating at a different clip. And again, it's not one's better than the other, just a different approach, is we will do something small. And that small thing that we do, if it gets a good feedback, we'll start to invest in it. So I might put out a tweet about something. If it gets more likes than maybe my average tweet, I'll say, I'll turn that into an email. If it gets more activity than my typical email, I'll turn that into a video. If that video does well organically, then I'll put that behind an ad.
Does a real estate agent need to own their own home in order to